as the winter sitting of Parliament kicks off and speculation an election isn't impossible this year is abound, where does each party stand with Canadians? Here to break down his latest data is Nik Nanos, Chief Data Scientist and founder of Nanos Research. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Vashi.
Good to see you. You were out in the field last week. Let's start with the top line numbers. Where are each of the parties sitting right now?
Well, in the latest Nanos tracking, it's only 4 percentage points between the Liberals and the Conservatives, 39-35. The NDP back at 12. And, you know, that 12 number for the NDP is not good for Pierre Poilievre. He needs the NDP to do better to split that progressive vote. But, you know, you look at the numbers and, you know, the election was close in terms of popular vote. It's still relatively close and competitive.
Moved a lot, right? Those top, like they've stayed pretty close, the two parties, since the election.
Absolutely. It's been a horse race for the last year.
What hasn't remained close are the preferred PM numbers. So tell us where those are at right now. And again, important to note, you were out in the field last week post Davos.
That's right. So this is after Mark Carney's speech, after Donald Trump's speech, and kind of rolls up the numbers in terms of who Canadians would prefer as Prime Minister. Check out these numbers, Vashi. 53-25, a 28-point advantage for Mark Carney on the preferred Prime Minister front. And, you know, his numbers went up last week coming off of his Davos trip.
Have you seen a spread that wide in recent memory?
Yeah, actually, when Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau were around, Poilievre, and, you know, that's the kicker here, Vashi. You know, a year ago, when Justin Trudeau stepped down, Pierre Poilievre was first as Prime Minister, probably a 15-point advantage, and had a 20-point advantage in the ballot numbers. Fast forward a year later, and one leader has a massive advantage in terms of preferred Prime Minister, but there's no massive advantage for that same party, the Liberals, when it comes to ballot support.
So I find both of these things very fascinating. The fact that the parties can be so close, the Conservative leader can be at such a disadvantage to the Liberal leader, but his party's not losing because of that, and the Liberals aren't gaining because of the advantage Mark Carney has. How do you explain that?
Well, I think what's clear is that people still don't like the Liberals. Why don't we just say it straight out? You know, their leader, Mark Carney, is massively more popular than the Liberal brand, and the political fortunes for that party are firmly around Mark Carney. And for the Conservatives, they just want change. They hate the Liberals. They want the Liberals out of power, and I'm not sure if many Conservative voters care who the leader is, because, let's face it, Poilievre trails his party by 10 points, and Carney is ahead of his party in double digits. So there you go.
So let's talk a little bit about the Conservative leadership race, because I know it's a different beast insofar as this is the party itself and members who are delegates, voting delegates who attend, and obviously there's a big portion of the Conservative base that is extremely supportive of Mr. Poilievre. I can't find many people who think he's not going to be able to, you know, get a number that's high enough to retain his leadership. When you look ahead at his leadership, what kinds of things will you be watching for?
Well, first of all, we're going to have to see what the number is, because I think he won the leadership with about 70% of the vote or thereabouts.
I think it was higher.
Higher? Yeah. But, you know, the thing is that the bigger the number for Pierre Poilievre, the better for him. And obviously, he would like to have a big mandate from his own members in order to wage war against Mark Carney. So, you know, I think he would probably hope that he can get 80% support in her leadership vote, and he should get a good number, because there's no counterpoint. There's no one in the weeds looking to knife him in the back. You know, there's no alternative to Pierre Poilievre, and you know, whether you like or dislike the guy, he's been working hard. He's been working the phones hard. He's been canvassing with his members. He's been out and mobilizing votes for this leadership vote, which is critical for him.
Just before I let you go, I wanted to ask a little bit about the issue sets that are important to Canadians right now and how they might kind of intersect with the types of announcements we'll be seeing from both the government and the opposition. But in particular this week, we were just talking to Minister McKinnon about the affordability announcement yesterday, aimed at boosting the GST rebate. What are Canadians telling you about what matters to them right now?
Well, it's kind of like a trinity of issues that are driving people's concerns. You know, jobs in the economy, and Donald Trump and inflation. And, you know, the thing is what we do know from the polling is that Carney does have the advantage when people are focused on Trump and U.S. relations, and Poilievre has the advantage when the focus is on the cost of living, groceries and stuff like that. And it probably explains what happened this week for the Liberals. Like, let's face it, Can their leader do better? I'm not sure. They're only 4 points ahead of the Conservatives. That's probably why the Liberals are trying to get into issues like inflation, the cost of living. But it's going to be tough. Do you know why? Because Pierre Poilievre was ahead of the Liberals on this issue. He has a brand built around this. And, you know, whenever the focus is on the cost of living and inflation, it benefits the Conservatives.
Do the Liberals need to actually own that issue, or do they just need to blunt their vulnerability on it?
I think they need to blunt their vulnerability. They have to be competitive. And you know what? The same thing is true for Pierre Poilievre. He doesn't need to win on Trump and tariffs, but he needs to be more competitive in terms of an alternative vision to show that he is a potential prime minister in waiting.
Okay, Nick, I'll leave it there. Great analysis, as always. Appreciate it. Nik Nanos is the chief data scientist and founder of Nanos Research.